Time is 7 o'clock. It's time to call to order our regularly scheduled school board meeting, for January 9th, 2023. So please roll call, please.
Mullins.
Here.
Noggle.
Here.
Wagers. Here. Wagner. Here. Dunn.
Here. Please stand and join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This time in our agenda, we have an opportunity for the public to be heard. Anyone who would wish to speak has to sign in our sign-in list. And then we'll check to see if anybody has back signed. We do have someone. Toby Parvin. Toby, would you go ahead and stand? Yeah, sure. And just to give some parameters here, according to our policies, each speaker is given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the board. And then the scope of the board's response is very limited, so we really won't respond to you, but we're glad to hear you. So.
All right. My name is Toby Parvin, and I'm a 1982 graduate of Sand Springs. I also built a business in Sand Springs that most of the people in here is probably too young to, but it was pull apart down here on Charles Page. I resent that. Well, that's you're the only other whitehead I've seen here. Mine darn late. I raised two kids, graduated in 2001 and 2004 from Charles Page. I currently have 6 grandchildren from the 5th grade to senior in high school enrolled in Sand Springs Public Schools. Those kids are 5th generation Sandites. And I rise because I'm concerned about something that was drawn to my attention in the Tulsa World, an article about Sand Springs making history, having a female married couple being nominated for Teacher of the Year. And my presence here tonight is just to merely ask, is this something that goes before the board, something like this, these nominations, those things such as that? And that's really all I got to ask tonight.
Thank you for coming, share. I don't really have any response opportunity there for that, but appreciate you being here. No problem. We move to our next item on our agenda, which is our Spirit Awards. We always love to recognize students and our team as well for all the things that they have accomplished. So we have an opportunity for some of our athletes to be acknowledged tonight.
My understanding is we got a state champion team
We like it.
this year. Do this. I'll ask the coach to help me out with this. Can you help me out, coach? We're gonna go over this side. I hope the camera gets this. I was kind of impressed just now because I have 2 daughters of my own. I've never seen this many ladies be this quiet. Coach, it's wondering if you can keep this be quiet, especially a dance team like that. Let's sneak on over this side so there's more room for us to get out. It's what we're gonna do is we're gonna recognize and Sherry had helped me out with this. We have one team, but they come from 3 schools.
That's correct.
And so this junior varsity, junior high, and if I get it wrong, you guys help me out. The junior varsity, junior high dance team is state champion. Come on, what it is. What it is. What we do with this Spirit Award is we ask that the staff members or whomever can make nominations. I got 3 separate nominations from 3 different schools for this tonight. So this wasn't just something that one group recognized. This was 3 groups recognized. We got it from Stan Trout at the high school, from J.J. Smith at the 9th grade center, and Miss Noel at the 6th grade center. So, or Clyde Boyd. So what a deal that this group of outstanding, quiet young ladies is pretty special to be recognized by so many various groups. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask them to come up one at a time. I'm going to present this to them, and I'm going to hold this for last because I might want to keep some of these. But basically what this is, I'll read this for everybody, but this is a certificate awarded to, it's got their name. for outstanding achievements and accomplishments in representing Sand Springs Public Schools and the community at large. And then we put at the bottom of that, we say, think beyond. And with this group of kids, I can see there's a lot of potential there. And they are already thinking beyond, and they're gonna think right, and they've made us proud as Sandites. So, Coach, would you like to add anything?
No, I'm just very proud of them. They've worked so hard all season and their hard work has definitely paid off. And it's just so wonderful to see them grow.
So they span three different sides of Pecan Freshman Academy. So coordination between kids at different schools is pretty tricky. So it does take a lot of commitment, not just from you, but from the girls to make sure their own practice, their own time, they work hard and follow, right, all of those things. So good job, ladies. I'm so proud.
We're gonna recognize them all with a certificate and Chick-fil-A. Right, so, cool. First off, Bristol Gun.
Come on.
Oh, you have everything out
Yes, we got pictures to be made too, so. Shay Edelman.
All right.
Kaya Dover.
I have those. Brooklyn Burvell. What we're gonna do is we'll get you all up here, and then we're gonna see you demonstrate your dance moves.
That's what it's saying.
Ridley Sullivan Brooks. Haley Bradley. Bailey Miller. You gotta help me with this one.
Saren, Percher. Did I say that right, Saren?
Yeah. Yay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Mackenzie Scott. Chloe Watson. Tori Sims. And
Riley.
Briley Curley. Very nice, very nice. That's what got to dance and stuff, right? So we'll get a picture made. We'll get our picture made, so.
Okay, so you know, you squish together. I know you guys know how to do
Yes.
Yeah.
Coach, you're in it too. Is the other coach in the back going to join us, please? Come on up here, coach.
One hat, put on the.
Trophy, the trophy.
Oh, yeah, get the trophy.
Smart to bring it. Get it running.
I love it. Yeah, good. Yeah, it's really good.
I just carried it in. This would happen either.
This is a real awkward.
Okay, over here.
There's too many pictures.
One,
It'll be on the website, so look here.
one more. 1, 2, 3.
And now right here, right here.
Want to get the picture?
There's that. But they had two daughters that participated in cheerleading. I know exactly what you guys have gone through. This is a challenge. But let me say one thing too. I love the parents' participation because you guys are special. Your parents know that, and your parents are very supportive of you. And that is so much appreciated in Sand Springs. That's what we do. That is exactly what we do. So keep it up. We love you guys. You guys are special to us. So
Statewide, how many teams participated in the state tournament? She has a lot.
It's a lot. I don't even think I could tell
So
you.
it goes for schools your size. So you're talking about, you know, the 6A class,
Right.
that it's amazing. That doesn't happen every day. So good job. ladies.
Thank you. Well done. Thank you, Mike.
girl.
We have another award. We get the opportunity to recognize someone from our staff that has done incredible things, and we're excited to do that. That's Jackie Wagman.
And I'm excited to have Mr. Tim Ray come up here and we want to acknowledge him for his,
Oh.
integral part in shaping the positive culture of our schools. And by doing that, he introduced a program called We Always Return with Purpose. And using that program, he has reduced the long-term suspension rate from an average of 24 students a year to approximately an average of 5. So he's been recognized as the outstanding Oklahoma State Assistant Principal of the Year.
I can't let it go. I don't think Mr. Traeger's supposed to have to give him some accolades. This guy, you all that are at the high school, you know him, and so you see him in the hallways every day, but his quiet wisdom, I always say that because when he speaks, everyone listens because of just what he does with kids. And it's amazing. So that kind of reduction doesn't happen in every school in the system. The other thing I want people to know clearly, this is a statewide recognition for Tim's organization for administrators. So it's not just about Sand Springs or the Tulsa area. Statewide voted the assistant principal of the year. That's something to be celebrated. So good job.
That's like another state championship right there.
Oh, look out there.
Yeah.
What did he get, Ms. Wagner?
Point of excellence, it says, in recognition of outstanding achievement and superior performance.
Good job, Jim.
All right, and those are the celebrations for this evening. Those who came to,
Can I deviate just really quick? I know that, you know, it's not. Do this, Award Recognition Month is always celebrated in the month of January. And I have to say, I'm just gonna stand up and deliver 5 of them because what you're looking at is 5 incredibly committed people to the students of Sand Springs who, pretty tirelessly without pay, make sure our kids get what they need in a pretty brilliant way and allow our staff to be creative and inspiring and do what we do and support every move that we make. And so I can't say enough about these 5 members. They are amazing. We have a small little token for them that doesn't do them justice in terms of the work that they provide. I know there's a connection. One of them has a kiddo in the audience. And I know she's super proud of her dad, but they are fantastic. So it is my honor to present these 5 members. I'm going to ask you to come and stand much like we made the dance team. So our board president, first, Mr. Rusty Gunn.
Oh, we're doing it.
Fantastic. Staying. This is not a bottle of wine, just so y'all know. I think you're gonna like it. I wouldn't put it out because they tend to peek at stuff and so they would, you know, look for it. So
she knows us.
I know she will. Secondly, board member, Mr. Mike Mullins.
Thank you.
Good. Okay. Then we have, Miss Whitney Wagers.
Thank you.
Good. Next, Miss Jackie Wagner.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Good. And of course, last but definitely not least, the guy that keeps me on is Mr. Bo Novel.
You.
1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Fantastic. Let's get a picture of the group. Want to do that? We'll get you all together. Okay.
All right. 1, 2, 3. And one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
It's big. I know, it's big.
Pretty good. So thank you for letting me.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. We appreciate you. I know someone has to speak for everyone on board. It really is an honor and privilege to be able to serve our city in this way and to be able to work with such a great team. So now the recognitions are over. The business portion is riveting and exciting, and it's like, don't miss television. I mean, we have so many viewers on YouTube. You're welcome to stay in person, but if you'd like to exit now, if you were here just for an award, you are welcome to do so. Thank you, guys. Congratulations. Yeah. I'll share with you, Mike. All right, we're going to move to item number 6, which is discussion and review of our instructional strategies, alignment with our continuous strategic improvement plan about student empowerment and staff empowerment.
So as you know, the newsletters go out every month. They're posted on our social media pages. Standout Successes and Standout STEM. STEM is one that we asked Ms. Chittister to do in addition to just the normal one, just because we've taken a big step toward making sure we're really zeroing in on that. So I love that. It's more of a link than a newsletter, I guess, but truly it just highlights some of the superior things what we're doing in our science classrooms. Secondly, I have to mention Mr. Beard was highlighted on OETA in an interview which aired, I believe, Friday. I didn't have a link. Ms. Chittister sent me the link today. He did a fabulous job really highlighting, and Sean, I want to speak for you, but what we do with Oklahoma Tiered Intervention Systems of Support and the mechanisms we put in place. I said that. I didn't know.
Yeah, I was just saying, you can say all that you want.
Well, interestingly, I'm going to say this. He said, "Do you think I did okay?" The man was sick the day that they did the interview. I'm sorry, not the jacket. He stepped up to the plate, did the interview, which is always kind of unnerving. And as soon as I were with, went home. They questioned, did I do a good job? It was amazing. So next week I'll send the board a link so that you can watch that interview. It's fantastic. So Sean, I don't know if you want to elaborate at all.
It was really one of those things that we get to highlight what we do as a team really well, which is, work to make sure that all of our kids get what they need at the level that where they are. And so it was a nice opportunity to talk about all the great things that we do to address the needs of every learner at every level, whether it's pre-K all the way up to a senior. So it's hard sometimes to explain what that means in layman's terms so that the public can understand it. So that was an opportunity for us to do that. It was a good opportunity. And I'm sure you guys were all watching at 7 p.m. on OETA Friday night.
Yeah, the link though. I will say, if you go back and watch the governor's inaugural address today, he gave a shout out to Sand Springs Public Schools too. It was actually nice to hear that. We sometimes bicker about how we feel about political issues and topics. I'm the first that'll tell you exactly how I feel about a few of them. But to get recognized and called out for specifically trying to accommodate and plan each individual student's pathway was pretty outstanding. I didn't interview with him at all. I think he might have caught the article, honestly, that Sharon had done on in Tulsa World. But anyway, it was very much appreciated to get a call out in an inaugural address today on TV. So just FYI, I could tell you, I could probably find it and locate it for you later as well. Then of course, Tim Ray, he just exited. He is the quiet giant at Charles Page High School. There's no doubt. And he does such a brilliant job. And then I also added a link from a SDE email, just kind of triggering you all about the rebound in public school enrollment this year. I think we're finally kind of over that hump of all of the things COVID that affected instruction and attendance and all of those things, and people are coming back, which I think is a good signal for people really do like their public schools for the most part. So just wanted you to see those numbers. You will see later on two resignations of teachers at Charles Page High School that went on to other jobs in different fields. It's always hard to lose teachers, especially the certified ones. I continue to brag on our ability to retain people and then attract new ones. And we posted those positions before Christmas break and they are already filled. One with a certified teacher just came back to the field. And then another one that is working on his emergency certification that was working for us already as a paraprofessional, but it's going to go through that emergency certification path. So I continue to be proud. I also will continue to say we have a shortage. There is absolutely no doubt. But we worked really hard to attract new talent and retain our people. And I think we do a pretty good job of that. So I'm proud of that. You'll see those on the agenda if you want to. And then I just need to mention the school calendar is at First Read tonight. You all, I think, are very well aware that we did a staff survey because we had kind of this great debate about when to get the Thanksgiving versus Christmas break. So we got the teachers' input and that's how it came out. So what you're looking at on First Read is a capture of that survey in First Read. So if you have questions, by all means, when we get to that component, now's the time. So that'll be on the agenda for next month approval. This is the one that they would like to. Yeah. You compare calendars. There's 180 days, you guys, that you have to fit in the calendar.
Yeah.
And again, we bear the burden because of our condition with low income, making sure we utilize the 30-day rule. So we don't have a lot of wiggle room in the calendar. But I did notice Owasso specifically already had their calendar out for the following year. And they're choosing to take the whole week of Thanksgiving, but they're going to go to school 2 or 3 days into Christmas. Well, our Christmas break will be. So it's a give and take. I think the survey was 59% of the staff, including support too, both support and teachers, preferred the full 2 weeks of Christmas break. So it's the thing. January 1st falls on a Monday next year, which means that will be the national holiday. So in turn, the first week back from Christmas will be a Tuesday through Friday week. And then we were able to schedule the first week of school a Tuesday through Friday as well. So they're a little bit shorter than the rest. So I think it's a good compromise. Again, you'll have time to really, search through it, look at it and tell us if we didn't count it right, Mike. Sometimes you do that, but I think it's going to be a good solution. So.
Very good. Any questions or comments on item number 6? Now we'll move to item number 7 about resource innovation.
Right. The only attachment is that state revenue report from OASA, which is the organization that I'm a part of. I sit on the executive board of that one. By the way, my tour for board member ends this year because I've served 6 years already, which is really hard. That's a limitation. But Daryl Glover is a member of that staff, and he has continued the Vernon Florence newsletter. The big takeaway for me really is while revenue is up and we're banking money, I get all of it, but our budgets were flat. And so we planned for inflation, and Christy Snoopy and I talk about that quite often about have we done enough maybe. As you know, our carryover balance was down by about $500,000 last year. However, with our increased enrollment at mid-year, we've seen about a little bit over $1 million increase in state aid, which is great news for us. That's going to help us make some really great decisions about the staff that we hired with federal money. So we're in a pretty good place. Again, you also know that the way title funds work, sometimes with a lot of projects, you claim that money back. So you front the money, pay for the projects, and then make a claim to the State Department to get the money back. So we're a little bit not behind, but it's not real time. So you kind of see an increase there too. So I feel like our carryover will be back at level this year. So we had a water leak. As you all know, I emailed the board last week. It was not because of the cold weather spell over Christmas break. It happened before then, and the cold weather hit. Initially, our leak detector indicated that it was under the building, which made me really nervous. Our people have been using the restroom across the parking lot, which has not been fun all week long. But of course, Dick Watts, and only the way Dick Watts does stuff, because I think I can find the leak. And so he's charging us for labor, but he drilled, it's probably a 3-foot trench in the concrete, found the leak, corrected it, and the water was off by about 5 o'clock today. So at a very minimal cost, we're paying for labor. So if you see Dick, tell him thank you, because that's what it is. He's a problem solver. And by the way, it wasn't under the concrete. It was, well, it was under concrete, but it wasn't under a floor. So that was good. So hooray for us. Yeah. The other thing I need to mention, you all approved us entering into a lawsuit my first year superintendent for state aid. We thought that that had been resolved. Turns out the Supreme Court had a ruling last summer. I won't be able to explain it in full tonight. Exactly, we've been meeting with, oh my gosh, I can't pull his name in my brain, but our attorney that represented the Tulsa area in that case, and we'll be doing some more work about that. Because if you remember, it was about a group of districts that had sued the state because of what they said was an under collection of state aid based on incorrect calculation of their local tax ad valorem, which made us over collect. And I say us, there were several districts in the state, and it was a 20-year run. There's a great debate about statute of limitations and how do you penalize current students for kind of the sins in the past of the allocation of state aid. So more to come on that, but we're still in the mix.
NCAA does it all the time.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to fight. So there's that. It's big money for us. So I agree with you on that one. Just wanted to let you know because that's the weird.
There's a bunch of Tulsa County school districts that are in there with us.
Correct. So Union, Jinx, Bixby, Tulsa Public, us, Owasso, and it had to do with county ad valorem. So what was happening is, and I'm going to try to tell, so Ponca City's county, which I believe is Payne County, for years, their ad valorem was at 12%. So they were collecting it at 12%. But when the state aid was figured, they figured on the 11% tax base. So that means that Ponca under collected their state aid, where I guess winter districts, however you want to term that, over collected for that period of years. So more to be determined. We're just going to have to stay in the fight a little bit longer, which I don't like. But again, I also know that's big money, especially for our district. So yes, it's a culmination of really the Tulsa region that decided to ask for a ruling. So, let's see, we met with KKT, started that bond planning specifically toured Boyd. I spoke with Mike Mullins last night on the phone, and it turns out the architect that they have assigned to us works with Mike at St. Francis as well, because he's Chris.
He's in trouble today, I promise.
He called me and he
Yeah,
said,
I'm good. So he's going to, so.
he goes, I bet there were 8 times that he called me, and it was funny, but I think he's going to do a good job. I hear pretty brilliant, very vision oriented, which I love. And you've not met him before. You've met Barry. Barry's my link. He's my go-to, the one I bug anytime I want to. But I'm pretty confident, as I know you all are, with KKT's professionalism and the work that they do with schools. So that's been started. The other thing I told Chris today was we got to work on plans for a press box. I just want to get the plan started. It's in just, you know, what the condition of the press box is. We have people that are alums, retired teachers that are making that trip up the stairs without an elevator and no facilities. And it's it's getting ridiculous, actually. So that was also on my request for them to review as well. So any questions?
No questions or comments on item number 7? We'll move to item number 8, empowering families and communities.
We've started, Ms. Huber is already starting the whole enrollment center process. We'll be starting that in the spring. I'm going to say this and then retract later if it's not true, but it should be seamless this year because we've had a year under our belt. And so she's already in the midst of training site secretaries too, so we can get ahead of the game. If you recall last year, our current students couldn't pre-register until June. And so we're hoping to get a good handle. March 1st, there you go.
Tina and I, we've rebuilt everything that we learned the hard way.
Right.
So, yeah, we're ready to roll March 1st.
So again, hosting crew day at Charles Page High School on February 3rd, 8:30 to 11:30, asking community members to participate. We always get a really good show of our community showing up for those days. So that's fun. That's going to happen soon. I know our special education coordinator at the high school had also partnered and became a part of that as well, because you all know that we also offer transition services for our special education kiddos too. So I think that is a nice compliment. So any questions?
No other questions or discussion for item 8. We'll move to item number 9, health and safety.
Safety drills have started. It's the second semester and we're back in the hunt for getting those done. The fire panel had a short at Boyd last week, not once, but twice. It was fine. There was no fire, but it caused 2 fire drills in the same day, right about the time they let school out. So that was fun for staff and students at High Point Middle School. They pulled it off without a hitch, which is the reason we do the drills in the first place. So it's kind of a real life scenario of what we practice. And then another, thing that's getting ready to start is reviewing building needs for summer work. And of course, safety considerations are always at the top of the list. Last summer, we spent a lot of time making sure doors were secured and proper working order and all of that. So they're going to start reviewing that as well. Questions?
Questions or other discussion on item number 9? We'll move to our consent agenda.
Okay, I just bring a couple of things to your attention. Item number 20 would be those resignations that I was talking about. So both happen to be in the history area. So we've replaced those 2 already, which is amazing. Item number 23 are 3 more first reads of policies. The first one is just a couple of crossouts because it conflicts with current FMLA policy that we have. Basically, when you take FMLA, you're taking sick leave simultaneously, and our policy needs to be consistent and reflect that. And then the other part of that, this is I think the one that was most confusing. We also struck the language that involved workman's comp because it's not accurate. Basically, our folks that take that sign a form to either opt in to use their sick leave or opt not to use their sick leave, in which case they would get a salary deduct. So that needed to be struck and be consistent with what our other policies are. And then Director of Federal Programs is a new policy. It's required in federal programs for monitoring. It's pretty simple and straightforward. And then let me pull up the school hours. I'm trying to remember what that was. Anybody help me out? So I can
It's hours.
Hours required.
Well, I think there's more to it. Sorry.
Here.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. This policy was referenced in our school hours, another policy, and it referenced this one, which we didn't have. It basically says the same thing. It's just, and I don't know why they do that. They cross-reference policies, so it has to be exactly the same. And when Kristen was doing her due diligence, cross-referenced that policy, which we didn't have. So that's an OSSBA simple policy that we're trying to get not compliant, but just in alignment. So our policy does make sense. Item number 24 is new, you guys. Agreement with the State Personal Development Grant at Oklahoma State Department. We are going to be what I'm going to call, you can correct me if I'm wrong, a model school for Otis, the Oklahoma Tier Systems of Support. And I've talked many times about how we get other districts coming in to look and see how we do our tiered intervention system with the help of course, our team at Charles Page. And it's not just about academics, it's that WARP program that Tim Ray has developed. So it is about academics, but it's also about behavior. And it's just it's a process and a program more than what I can probably explain in a nutshell. Nonetheless, the state, we've had an Otis grant for the past, I don't even know, maybe 5 years, maybe longer. I think Jamie Guthrie started that. Anyway, they've recognized us as a model school and they want us to help lead and share our story statewide with other districts who are trying to put those in place. So kudos to this team for being a part of that. They get a little bit of a stipend to help, which is great. Kudos to them. Anyway, I'm very, anytime you get state recognition, I just think it's the greatest thing ever. So that's what that's about. And then, of course, 25 is the calendar read for 2023-24. And then,
About 24, what I told Mr. Durkee last night, I had some questions, and my comment was, you guys are doing things you're gonna do anyway. And we're just getting recognized by the state for doing it, so what a deal. Thank you for doing that.
I don't remember, they'll take a little bit of work. They'll have to do some Zoom meetings or other districts. I think they have to present at a conference. And so we do that a lot anyway.
They like football.
And they do like the spot too. That's part of it.
Yeah, all that kind of good stuff.
Exactly. Okay. Oh, man. Great. And then the last one, our copiers were on year 6. Is that right? Year 6. When you start getting the complaints about the copiers don't work repeatedly over time. So Ms. Newby went through a very thorough process, and we ended up sticking with the same company that we have had for the last 6 years, but with new machines. So I don't know if there's anything to elaborate. There you go. It's the same.
Answered my question, just.
They're thrilled. So there's that. So it's a huge deal. It is a huge deal. So how many copies did you say we run?
Right now, we're at 6.8 million.
Copies a year?
Poor kids, they never get to smell the paper like we do.
Yes.
Before COVID, we were at about
Purple fingers.
8.5, so we went down since COVID on the amount of copies. Now, I don't know whether it's going to swing back up or not. We'll see.
She came in my office. She goes, "Do you realize how many copies we wrote?" I said, "No, I don't." She goes, 7.5 million. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." She goes, "Is that like what we always do?" I said, "I don't know. Go back and check from last year. I have no idea." And it was more, which seems like a humongous amount. So divide by 5,000. I'm not sure. It's crazy. So that's the only other thing on the consent that I would bring to your attention.
All right, if there are no questions or comments on any of the items, or you have something?
I just have one clarification on the Director of Federal Programs. That is just a new policy, not a new position.
Yes, Claudia.
All of other
That's,
superintendents.
yes, this is Claudia doing your due diligence when it comes to making sure that and monitoring, we have all the policies in place that we're supposed to have. So, yeah, thanks. You're welcome.
All right, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Motion and a second. Call for a vote, please.
Mullins,
Aye.
Noggle,
Aye.
Wagers, Wagner,
Aye.
Benton.
Aye. Moving on to action items. Item number 27 is proposed executive session to discuss employment of temporary teachers. Is there anyone who would like to see that happen? If not, we'll move to item number 28, proposed approval of the employment of a temporary teacher for United States History, Charles Page High School.
I'm going to slide in one comment. You see one because we didn't get the second one forwarded and in time to get on this agenda. So that's, I just wanted that clarification because I made a statement if we have them both, but we didn't get the second one here in time.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Make the motion stated.
Oh, second?
Okay, a motion and a second. Call for a vote, please.
Mullins,
Aye.
Noggle,
Aye.
Wagers,
Aye.
Wagner, Benton.
Aye. Also, a proposed executive session to discuss employment recommendations at various schools within our district. There's no motion for that. We'll move to item 30, which is the proposed approval of the employment recommendations.
I'll move to approve the employment recommendations.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Call to vote, please.
Mullins,
Aye.
Noggle,
Aye.
Wagers,
Aye.
Wagner, Benton.
Aye. Item 31, proposed approval to add these revised and new policies to our manual.
So these are the same 3 that we talked about at the last meeting. Ms. Wagers brought to my attention on DOAC. There was a preposition problem that should have been at versus to, so that was corrected. But that's the only change. It was on policy DOAC. Support personnel suspension, demotion, or renewal. So that was the only correction from the last meeting, and she was correct. It needed to say at school sites versus to school sites. So that's great.
I think just another typo issue, but policy DDA, where this from the statement of salary schedule is striped there and you have or with an unnecessary or.
Oh, gotcha. Yep. make a note of that in a minute, so we'll take that or out, so. We paid ASAP, you're right. So do you see the or in there, Beth? Yeah, okay, thank you, Mr. Hill. We'll make a correction before we send it to OSSBA to be published.
All right. Do we have any other questions or discussion on those items? If not, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
No second.
Motion and a second. We call for vote, please.
Mullen,
Aye.
Noggle.
Aye.
Wagers.
Aye.
Wagon.
Aye.
Gann.
Aye. Item 32, discussion of possible action regarding the approval of financial advisory services agreement, Bank of Oklahoma Financial Securities Incorporated.
So just to for your recollection, Zach Robinson was at the meeting last time. We're shifting from McDonald and Associates to BOK. I'm not saying that wrong. BOK Financial and that brain. Anyway, financial for our bond consultant. So Zach would be upon your approval tonight, the one that will call for the bond sales in March when we do those.
Questions or discussion? Entertain a motion for that item.
Make a motion, we approve the, as stated with BOK Financial Services.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, 2 seconds, need to. Call for a vote, please.
Mullen.
Aye.
Noggle.
Aye.
Wagers.
Aye.
Wagon. Gann.
Aye. Brain, what were you gonna say?
I didn't say it. I thought that.
Okay, any items that could not have been known again about reasonably foreseen prior to the posting of this meeting?
No, why did I catch your
Special announcements?
I do have a special announcement, and remember Nancy Ogle's position that we shifted? She just wrote a grant for additional safety support. And got it back already, like it took a month, I guess, and it was $273,000. It's not on here yet because it wasn't, we got a person that really is doing a good job, and man, it's just so good. So that will come later. There will be more descriptor about that. I think Beth maybe added it to the February agenda already. So just kind of a shout out to her and that work.
A special guest tonight.
Oh, we have a special guest tonight.
Well, thanks for coming back, gracing us with your presence. Always proud of you, excited for your future as well. All right, with nothing else, then I would make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Call for vote, please.
Mullen. Noggle.
Aye.
Wagers.
Aye.
Wagon.
Aye.
Gann.
Aye. What's the score, Bo?